there! Yeah, you leaning into the screen. Ever feel like your phone knows what you want before you do? Or maybe you've asked an AI to whip up an email and thought, wow, that was easy, maybe too easy? It's everywhere now, right? AI is baked into search, your writing tools, maybe even your fridge. It's doing amazing things, no doubt. Curing diseases, solving complex problems, seriously cool stuff. We're talking about the everyday AI, the stuff you and I use constantly, the AI slop, some call it. Could overusing this convenience actually be, well, making us a bit duller, less reliant on our own smarts? That's the big question we're tackling today. Think of it like a friendly chat about your brain on AI. We'll look at some surprising ways tech affects your thinking, ways you might not even notice. Think GPS messing with your sense of direction, but potentially on a much bigger scale. We'll dig into why relying too much on AI for answers might weaken your critical thinking muscles. And don't worry, this isn't all doom and gloom. I promise. Stick around, because at the end, we'll talk about practical ways you can fight back. How to use AI as the amazing tool it can be without letting it turn your brain to mush. Okay, let's start with something familiar. Remember life before smartphones? Specifically, before GPS? You had to actually look at street signs, maybe even ask for directions. Wild, I know. Well, studies, like one from 2020, found something interesting about relying heavily on GPS. It seems that constant use can actually weaken your spatial memory. Your internal compass gets a bit rusty. Funny thing is, the people in the study whose navigation skills did decline often didn't even realize it. They still thought they had a great sense of direction, even when the data showed otherwise. It's that classic trade-off, isn't it? Convenience often comes with a hidden cost. And remember, GPS is relatively simple tech. It just follows instructions. It's not really thinking or generating new information like the AI we're talking about. So, if simple GPS can subtly change how your brain works, what might happen when you start outsourcing actual thinking tasks to AI? Things like writing, summarizing information, even generating creative ideas? This isn't just about finding your way around town anymore. This feels different. Let's look at what happens when AI steps in to help with tasks that normally build your skills. Think back to school, or maybe your job now. Remember learning to write well? It takes practice, right? There's this story about a professor, David Rafo. A few years back, he noticed something weird. His students' writing, which hadn't been great, suddenly got way better. Almost unnaturally good. He smelled a rat, as they say. He asked them, and yep, they were using AI writing tools. His realization was key. It was the tools that improved their writing, not their writing skills. See the difference? The AI could produce good text, but the students weren't learning how to do it themselves. Professor Rafo wasn't totally against AI. He saw its efficiency. But he had a warning. He said our mental abilities are like muscles. They need regular use to stay strong. If AI does all the heavy lifting, do your cognitive muscles start to atrophy, to weaken? Think about it. It takes discipline to choose the harder path, to exercise your brain when an easy AI shortcut is available. It's like choosing stairs over the elevator. Sometimes you just take the elevator, right? This isn't just about grades anymore. These students graduate, enter the workforce, carrying those AI-reliant habits with them, using tools to fill gaps where skills should be. Is this, quote, working smarter? Or are you slowly letting your own abilities fade by leaning too heavily on the tech? It's a tricky balance. Efficiency is great, but not if the long-term cost is your own brain power. This leads us to something called cognitive offloading, basically letting tech do the thinking for you. And sometimes, the tech you're trusting gets it spectacularly wrong. So cognitive offloading. Fancy term, simple idea. You use tech to reduce your own mental effort. Think using a calculator for basic math you could do in your head, or letting autocorrect handle all your spelling. AI takes this way further. You're not just offloading calculation or spelling, but problem solving, decision making, critical evaluation, One study found frequent AI users were more likely to just let the tech decide rather than thinking critically themselves. Over time, this heavy reliance seemed to reduce their ability to evaluate info or form nuanced conclusions. Now, here's where it gets really worrying. Remember that police facial recognition story from Detroit? Poor quality footage of a robbery. The department used an AI facial recognition tool. The AI pinged a match, Portia Woodruff, based on an old mugshot. Problem? She was 8 months pregnant and clearly not the suspect. But the police, relying solely on the AI's flawed output, arrested her anyway. A classic case of cognitive offloading gone wrong. It sounds crazy, right? Why would they ignore the obvious? Because the tech was presented as reliable, easy, objective. People trust AI, especially when it makes their jobs easier. That convenience factor is incredibly tempting. You don't even need high-stakes police work to see this. Look at social media. You see people asking AI bots like Grok to explain even simple posts. Why bother thinking when the AI can do it? Okay, maybe asking for a quick summary saves time sometimes, but overusing it for stuff you could easily figure out? It's a slippery slope towards letting something else handle the basic mental work your brain is built for. And this blends into another subtle issue, how algorithms are constantly making choices for you. Think about how you find stuff online these days. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, even how you found this video maybe. How often are you actively deciding what to watch or read versus just clicking what the algorithm serves up? Alec Watson from Technology Connections calls this algorithmic complacency. Love that term. It's this subtle shift where you start letting the computer program decide what you see, even if you could choose differently. Remember the old internet? Clicking bookmarks? Actively searching for sites you liked? It was more manual, sure, but you were largely in charge of curating your experience. Now, it often feels like you're just floating down the algorithm's river, letting it take you wherever. The more you rely on these recommendations, the less you might ask yourself, what do I actually want? Your agency, your ability to choose, gets subtly eroded without you even noticing. For younger generations especially, who grew up with this, trusting the algorithm might feel more natural than trusting human curation. Combine this algorithmic complacency with AI that generates answers, and you've got a recipe for potentially accepting flawed information without much critical thought. Which brings us to another snag. AI doesn't always know what's true. Sometimes it confidently makes stuff up. They call these, quote, hallucinations. And if you're already used to just accepting what tech tells you, you might believe it. Remember when Google launched its AI overviews, those little AI summaries at the top of search results? Yeah, that had some teething problems. Telling people to eat rocks, that snakes are mammals. It highlighted a core issue. Current AI, especially large language models like ChatGPT, struggle with factual accuracy. As AI pioneer Geoffrey Hinton put it, they don't really understand truth. They're just predicting the next word based on vast, often inconsistent data. And here's a scary thought. What happens when AI starts learning from other AI-generated content? Researchers call it model collapse. If AI keeps training on its own output, errors can compound. One study showed after just a few cycles, the quality dropped fast. By the 9th, it was nonsense, with estimates suggesting a huge chunk of internet content might already be AI-generated. You can see how the internet might start, quote, eating itself, polluting the very data AI needs. So you're relying on a tool that might be getting dumber itself, or at least less reliable. Okay, deep breaths. It's not hopeless. You don't need to throw your phone in a river. Remember, AI, like GPS or calculators or spreadsheets, is fundamentally a tool. The key is how you use it. Are you letting it replace your thinking or augment it? Tip 1. Be the boss, not the intern. Use AI for specific tasks, but you guide the strategy. Let it draft that email? Sure. But you review, edit, and ensure it sounds like you and makes sense. Tip 2. Question everything, kindly. Treat AI answers like a starting point, not the final word. Does it seem right? Does it match what you already know? Can you quickly verify it elsewhere? Tip 3. Exercise your brain. Deliberately do some tasks manually sometimes. Right from scratch. Solve a problem without AI help. It's like taking the stairs. Build strength over time, even if it feels harder in the moment. Think of VisiCalc, the first spreadsheet program. Accountants freaked out. That's my job! But it didn't replace accountants. It freed them up for higher-level thinking. AI can do the same if you let it. Ultimately, your brain, your experiences, your critical thinking, that's unique. AI can't replicate that. Yet. Don't let convenience dull your greatest asset. Think for yourself. Thanks for hanging out and thinking about this with me. Stay sharp out there.